Okay, so let's look today at division and the distributive property. We use the distributive property when we've done addition. We've used it when we've done multiplication most recently. We can also use that distributive property when we're looking at dividing larger numbers. All right, so let's look at this. Let's take a quick review and what it means to distribute, and also looking at expanded form, because when we are distributing numbers, we're going to have to remember how to break numbers apart into expanded form. When I look at expanded form, it basically means you're looking at the value of each digit and its place value. So if I have the number 1,628 and I want to break it apart into each number's place value, I start with my largest place value, which is the thousands. If I have a 1 in the thousands, it's worth 1,000. Okay, I'm going to add that to my hundreds. So my thousands plus my hundreds plus my tens plus my ones. So 1,000 plus, I have a 6 in the hundreds, so that's 600, plus my tens, 2 in the tens, 2 tens is 20, plus my ones, which is 8. Okay, so I'm taking those numbers and I'm taking them and telling the value of each digit. Just as another example, in case we need it, let's look at the number 479. And let's break that apart into expanded form. Again, I start with my largest place value, which is the 100s in this one, 479. If I was going to write this number in expanded form, I would write it as 400 plus 70 plus 9. All right, so 400 for the 4 and the 100s, 70 for the 7 and the 10s, and 9 for the 9 and the 1s. Now, I'm going to show you how we can use the distributive property to divide, right? And I'm going to be breaking numbers apart into expanded form. Let's look at this division equation. So if I have 69, let me find my cursor here. Divided by 3. Now, I want to use the distributive property. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take 69 and I'm going to break it apart. 6 in the 9s is worth 60. And the 9 in the 1s is worth 9. So now I have 60 divided by 3, because each one of these numbers, I'm still going to go and I'm going to divide them each by 3. All right, I still have that 3. I'm dividing by 3. So I have 60 divided by 3. When I find that quotient, I'm going to add that to the quotient I get when I divide 9 divided by 3. Okay, and remember, when I say the quotient is your answer to your division problem. All right, so when I say quotient, that's what I mean. The answer to your division equation is called your quotient. Now that I have two separate division equations here, I have 60 divided by 3, and then I also have 9 divided by 3. This is where I'm going to go back to that area, that box model that we use when we're multiplying, because I think that's a great visual and model to show our division. So let me draw my rectangle here. Okay, and remember, the size of the rectangle isn't like 100% important as long as it's big enough to fit our pieces in. I'm dividing by 60 and 3. I divide it into 2 numbers, so this rectangle is going to be divided into 2 boxes. Okay, so on top, one box is going to have 60, and the other box is going to represent the 9. So I'm going to write those numbers on top, 60 and 9. And if you notice, it looks very familiar to our multiplication problem. Each one of those is still divided by 3, as in my problem. So this 3 is going to go right here on the side. Now I'm ready to divide. The first box is my equation of 60 divided by 3. And I'm writing the equations in here so I don't get confused and whatnot. And then my next one is going to be 9 divided by 3. Might be a little bit easier to solve than 60 divided by 3. We've got this. Now, let's look at 60 divided by 3. If I'm looking at this, I know 3 goes into 6 2 times. Okay? And then I add my 0 in. Kind of like dividing by tens. So now I have 20. So 60 divided by 3 equals 20. I'm going to write this down over here underneath my written equation. And now I'm ready to go back over to my area box model and divide 9 divided by 3. 9 goes into 3 times. So my answer there is 3. So now I'm ready to add 20 plus 3. 20 and 3 more equals 23. This model helped me to solve 69 divided by 3 by breaking it apart and distributing the number 69 to get to my answer of 63. All right, so like I said, it's really similar to that model we used when we were multiplying. We just need to remember that this time we are dividing and we are not multiplying, right? Let's try another one. Okay, while I erase this example here, I want you to grab a piece of paper and I want you to do this one with me. Let's do 45. Actually, let's do 48 divided by 3, not 45. Write this on your paper. And let's do our first step. Let's break apart 48 into our tens plus our ones. In 48, I have 4 tens. So the value of those 4 tens is 40. And I have 8 ones. So now I have 40 plus 8, which equals 48. Before I do the box model, I want to write my division equation out just so I see the visual of what it actually looks like. So I have 40 divided by 3. Make sure you're writing this on your paper too. I put the parentheses here to know that that equation goes together. I'm going to solve those two numbers together. And then I have 8. Oh, friends, I might have set us up on this one. I think we might have a remainder. Didn't mean to do that. All right, so let's do our box model. We're going to solve it out and see if we got a remainder or not. Next step we're going to do, we're going to take our numbers and we're going to write them on top. 40 on top of the first box and 8 on top of the next box. $40 goes here and 8 goes here. And of course my 3 goes on the side because both of those numbers are getting divided by 3. So we're doing 40 divided by 3 And I'm doing 8 divided by 3. All right, let's solve 40 divided by 3. Well, if I have 3, I'm going to set it up this way so we see. I didn't do that on the last one. 3 goes into 4 one time. 3 times 1 is 3, so I subtract 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. And I bring my 0 down. So I have 10. Now I'm going to see how many times 3 goes into 10. Three goes into 10 3 times, but 3 times 3 doesn't equal 10. It equals 9. So I'm going to subtract 9. Ten minus 9 is 1. Well, 1 doesn't go into 3, or 3 can't go into 1. So that means I'm going to have a remainder of 1. This might balance out in the end, so let's see. So my answer for 40 divided by 3 is actually 13 with a remainder of 1. And it's going to look really funny to write this over here, but I'm going to do it anyway, so I have it in my equation. So 13 with a remainder of 1. I'm going to see what I'm going to add that to in a minute here. Let's go to my other box, which is 8 divided by 3. Take a look at your multiplication chart. How many times does 3 go into 8 evenly? Or can it go in there evenly? I might have some remainders. I have a remainder. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. So they're going to use 3 times 2 because it's close but not going over. And I'm going to subtract 6. I have a leftover of 2. So that's 2, and I have a remainder here of 2. 8 divided by 3 is 2 with a remainder of 2. I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to write that in my equation of 2 remainder of 2. Go ahead and make sure you've done that. Okay, so now I'm going to show you something. You see your numbers that you have down here at the bottom of 13 and 2. I'm still going to add those together. 13 plus 2 equals 15. Now, I have my remainders, all right? Stay with me on this. Remainder 1 plus a remainder of 2. 2 plus 1 more equals 3, right? So I have a remainder of 3. Well, look at this, friends. If I have a remainder of 3, does 3 go into 3? Yeah. So that remainder of 3 really is a 1. So I'm going to cross this off because if I have a remainder of 3 that goes into 3, it's going to equal 1. So really, and you won't have a problem like this in our work, I promise. 15 plus 1 more equals 16. So 48 divided by 3 equals 16. All right, so I just gave you guys some harder math. I apologize for that. Didn't mean to do that, but now you're already ahead for 5th grade. You know what to do with division with big numbers and remainders and what to do with them. Okay, so for your classwork today, you're going to have some review with expanded form, and you're only going to have 2 problems to solve for me with using that distributive property and showing me your work, okay? You will not have a remainder like this problem. It will be like the first problem that I showed you together. If you get stuck, please ask for help. Just try to remember and visualize the steps in the process. And if you need to, you can always go back and rewatch this video again, okay? You guys have got this. You're my little math geniuses. Go ahead and stop this video and you can start your activity.